Hi there, welcome back to the playlist, or welcome to the playlist if you're just joining. In this section, we're going to be talking about how to find jobs in the UK, the tools you can use, the strategies you can use. We have a specific playlist for job hunting, which goes into some of these strategies in a little bit more detail, but this will serve as an introduction into how to interact with the job market in the UK. Now, broadly speaking, here are some of the things, not all by any means, but some of the things and the more common things that you can do to find a job in the UK. And we have the obvious ones on there, things like job boards, employer websites, to maybe the less obvious things like recruitment agencies and the University Careers Service. We won't be able to go into all of these today, but what I will do is go into some of the more common and think about how you can maximize these to get the most out of your job search. When we're thinking about searching for jobs, it can be quite a difficult process. It can be quite painful in some ways. What I'm going to try and do in this section is take a lot of the pain out and talk about how you can get the most out of whatever it is you're doing when you're looking for jobs. Now, probably the most obvious way to do this is with job boards, job websites. The ones on screen are some of the most common in the UK, and they all pretty much act in the same way. They're all a search engine which operates on instructions, and they just look for the jobs that are posted. And the one we're going to look at in particular is Indeed, which looks like this, and it's the biggest job website in the UK. Now, Indeed and most job websites can be quite frustrating, because what tends to happen is people put things into the search bar, a job title or an industry, and they get loads of results and they think, great, that's 600 results, most of which they then find are not particularly helpful. They're not relevant, they're not what they're looking for. The reason that happens is because it's a search engine, and the way a search engine works is, let's say you put marketing assistant into the search bar. What that will do is look for everything with the word marketing in, everything with the word assistant in, and then throw those up on screen, which is why you're getting a lot of the less relevant stuff. What I'm going to suggest to you is that you do something different to everybody else that's using it. Use the fact that it's just a search engine to your advantage. Now, this is going to get a little bit technical, but when we put marketing assistant in, the word marketing and the word assistant, they are what we call search terms. What you want to do is create what we call a Boolean string, which is a set of instructions to a search engine. Some of you might know this already. For some, it's going to be completely new, but you'll see examples on screen. So if we put marketing and then and in capital letters and then assistant, that and in capital letters, that acts as an instruction, not a search term. And what that will do is look for that combination of those two words. The next example uses speech marks or quotation marks. So that graduate marketing executive, if I put that in speech marks, that looks for that specific phrase and nothing else. So those two techniques there are really powerful, and you'll see how that works in a second. But you can be a bit clever and combine these things with things like brackets and other instructions. So that graduate and then in brackets marketing or communications, that is keeping the search quite focused. Anything that's graduate, but anything that's to do with marketing or communications, you could put public relations in there, and then you're still keeping it focused but getting it broader and broader. Using this, and we go into more detail about this in the job search playlist if you're interested, can be really, really effective, because it uses something that is very powerful, the search engine, but makes it act towards what you're actually looking for. And like I say, can take a lot of the pain out of this whole process. Now, to show how powerful this can be, on the right hand side on the screen, I've just done what most people do. I've put marketing in to the search engine, and you'll see there I've got 600 results, over 600, and you can't see this, but I looked through those and most of them are not suitable for the kind of thing that we're looking for when we're looking for graduate marketing roles. On the left hand side, all I've done is use and, marketing and graduate, and we've got 19 jobs there, all of which are graduate marketing roles. This is how helpful that can be. Now, what you can do, and what I would suggest you do, is do a little bit of experimentation. Find out what search terms are working for you, what instructions are working for you, and then set up a job alert like I've done there towards that search, and you've automated this part of your job search. Can be really helpful and takes a lot of the annoying parts of a job search out of the process to make it easier for you. The next thing I want you to do is think about the employers that you're interested in. It's very easy for most people, once they have an idea of what kind of industry or what kind of sector they're interested in, to think about the big employers. So if it's media, it might be the BBC, ITV, all the obvious ones, right? The smaller ones may be the ones you're not as familiar with. That can be a bit more challenging. How do you know the employers in your sector? Really easy way to do this is to use Google Maps. So I've done this for construction. I've tried to find construction firms in and around Manchester. I put construction in, or maybe a job title in, to the search bar, switch to Google Maps. Straight away, I find all the local employers in that area. This can be a really easy, quick, but helpful tool to get a sense of your local employers. And because you're doing it on a maps basis, you can also do it for different areas. So I've done it for Manchester, but let's say you're quite open to relocating. You could do it for London, Bristol, Newcastle, wherever it is you want to go. This can be really, really helpful. It's a quick way of getting an idea of the local employers, who you want to target, so then you can check back on their own websites to see what they're advertising, see what jobs they've got, and then research that employer. Now, just to round off this section, there are a few other resources I would suggest using. The first one, what's really valuable, is called Prospects. Prospects is a website devoted to students and graduates. There's all sorts of information there on different careers. They host their own job adverts as well, but you'll get a sense looking at the job profiles of what different jobs entail. Things like salary, what to expect, the actual job description, the skills required. But if you also go down to the employers section of each of the job profiles, which you'll see on there, then you'll get a sense of where to find those jobs, what employers to target. It's really helpful for doing that research. There is also a careers advice tab for those who maybe aren't really sure what it is they want to do, and it has a what can I do with my degree section. That can give you a bit of a steer. It won't tell you everything that you could possibly do, but it gives you career ideas related to your degree, and then other ideas that maybe aren't as related but where your degree might be helpful. So it can give you a bit of a steer on that score. Another website that can be helpful is one called Student Job. This kind of does what it says. It has all sorts of jobs that are particularly applicable to students. It's particularly good for part-time work, but also internships, placements, summer jobs, and then some graduate jobs as well. So this can be helpful for building experience, but also finding work while you're at university and then further afield. And then we'll finish off with Unitemps. This is a job website that's directly targeted at students while they're actually studying. Really good for things like part-time work and internships. Can be helpful, and what I would suggest is you use that, you use Student Job, you maybe use Prospects, maybe use some of the others that we talk about in the job hunting playlist that I have on the YouTube channel to build what I call a rotation of activity. So each time that you are searching for a job, you're doing something slightly different, whether that is looking through the job websites I've talked about, doing a little bit of networking on LinkedIn, all sorts of stuff, so that you're making sure that you are going what I call multi-channel, which is doing a little bit of lots of different things to make sure that you are maximizing your job search. That all brings me to the end of this section. Like I said, we have a playlist that is devoted to nothing but job hunting, and it explores a lot of these things in a little bit more detail. So if you are interested in this side of the playlist, please have a look at that and deep dive a little bit into some of the strategies I talk about. Coming up, we'll be looking at actually applying for these jobs, so the whole recruitment process and how that works and what you need to think about when you're applying for roles. As always, if you could like and subscribe to help us grow the channel and reach more students, that would really be appreciated. And I shall see you in the next video.